What exactly is human language, and how do we study it scientifically? In this video, we'll explore the science behind how we communicate, uncovering the hidden systems and social forces that shape language. Let's embark on a journey through the foundations of language science. We'll define what language is, distinguish between prescriptive and descriptive approaches, explore the components and modalities of language, examine the role of power and standards, and reflect on the ethical impact of linguistics. We begin by asking, what is language, and what do linguists mean by grammar? This topic sets the stage for understanding the scientific study of human language. Before we dive deeper, let's clarify what linguistics means. Linguistics is the scientific study of human language. This definition is crucial because it frames our entire exploration. We're not just talking about rules, but about observing and understanding the patterns and principles that underlie all human languages. Here's how linguists distinguish between different uses of the word, language, and focus on the shared system that enables communication. Individual languages are specific systems, such as English, American Sign Language, or Basque, which can be spoken or signed. Computer languages like Python or metaphorical uses like body language are not the focus of linguistics, even though they share the term language. The shared system, or mental grammar, is what allows us to understand each other's ideas through language. Let's break down what grammar means to linguists, focusing on the mental systems that make language possible. Mental grammar is the shared system in our minds that allows us to understand and produce language. The lexicon is like a mental dictionary, linking word forms to their meanings. Much of our grammatical knowledge, such as phonology and syntax, is unconscious or implicit. Now let's consider the role of literacy. While important, reading and writing are not necessary for someone to have a mental grammar. Reading and writing are secondary to spoken or signed grammar and are not required for grammatical competence. Languages can use different writing systems, like Mongolian Cyrillic and traditional scripts, without altering their grammar. Next, we explore the difference between prescriptive and descriptive approaches to language. This distinction is central to the scientific study of how people actually use language. Let's challenge a common assumption. Is there really a proper way to speak any language, or are all varieties equally valid? This question gets to the heart of how we think about language and the judgments we make about others. Here's how linguists distinguish between prescribing rules and describing real-world language use. The prescriptive approach dictates rules for what is considered correct language use, often found in textbooks and style guides. The descriptive approach observes and describes how people actually use language, without making value judgments. Let's highlight two key insights. All languages have grammar, and no grammar is inherently superior. Universal grammar means that every language has systematic rules and structure, even if it lacks a written form. No grammar is better or worse than another. All languages and dialects are equally valid from a linguistic perspective. Finally, let's see how the creative nature of grammar leads to constant change in all languages. Productivity means that a finite set of rules allows us to create an infinite number of sentences. Languages change over time, in vocabulary, pronunciation, and structure, reflecting human creativity and adaptation. Now let's examine the different modalities of language and the components that make up our mental grammar. This helps us understand the diversity and complexity of human communication. Let's look at the two main modalities of human language, vocal and signed. Vocal languages are produced with the voice and perceived by the ear, as in spoken languages. Sign languages are produced with the hands and perceived by sight or touch, as in American Sign Language. Here are the main components of mental grammar, each playing a unique role in how we use language. Phonetics and phonology deal with the sounds of language and how they are patterned. Morphology is the study of the structure of words and their meaningful parts. Syntax involves the rules for combining words into phrases and sentences. Semantics is about meaning, while pragmatics considers how context influences interpretation. Finally, let's see how linguists use scientific methods to observe and analyze language. Empirical observation means collecting and analyzing data systematically to understand language. Descriptive judgments involve evaluating what is possible or impossible in a language, such as which words or sentences feel natural. In this topic, we confront the social dimensions of language, how power, privilege, and social standards influence which varieties are valued and which are marginalized. Let's explore how certain varieties of language become associated with higher prestige and power. Standardization is linked to social and political power, not to any objective measure of language quality. Prestige varieties are often those spoken by dominant social groups, such as the Queen's English or Standardized French. Now, let's see how linguistic bias can shape people's lives in profound ways. Social judgments about language use can lead to biases and discrimination against speakers of non-standard varieties. These biases have real-world consequences, affecting education, legal decisions, and social inclusion. Finally, let's question why some varieties are considered standard and recognize the social forces at play. Prescriptive teaching often leads us to internalize the belief that only standardized varieties are correct. Language standards usually reflect social status and power, not the inherent qualities of a grammar. Our final topic addresses the ethical dimensions of linguistics, how the field has caused harm, how it can do good, and what responsibilities linguists have. Let's acknowledge the historical harms caused by linguistics, especially in colonial contexts. Colonial missionaries documented indigenous languages through a European lens, often inaccurately, and imposed foreign standards. Policies like residential schools forcibly suppressed indigenous languages, leading to loss and trauma. Today, linguists face new ethical challenges, from data ownership to avoiding bias in research. Modern linguistics must respect community rights to language data and avoid appropriation. Research methods can unintentionally reinforce stereotypes or misrepresent language users. Finally, let's see how linguistics can be a force for good, supporting communities, and improving technology and society. Linguistics can support communities in reclaiming and revitalizing their languages. Linguists help make technology more accessible and inclusive, from speech recognition to language learning apps. Linguistics has practical applications in therapy, law, branding, and even creating fictional languages for media. Language is not just a set of rules. It's a living, evolving system that reflects our minds, our communities, and our values. By studying language scientifically, we gain insight into ourselves and the world around us, and we can use that understanding to build a more inclusive and thoughtful society.